How's it going, YouTube? Comments in today with another video, and today, guys, the video is going to be the hand trap tier list. And I wanted to make this video because I've been getting a ton of questions about individual hand traps, and I really wanted to cover them today to make sure that we just go over each and every single one, their applications of the format, if I would run them, if I would not run them, could I see them be more popular in the future? So many questions to answer and more. So if you haven't already checked out my sponsors, definitely go ahead and do so all down below in the description. Without further ado, let's hop right on into the hand trap tier list. The first one I want to go over today is going to be Typhoon. Now, unfortunately, this one definitely just kind of rotated out. It was really popular and it was really cool to play, but now it's a lot less good. It's really good into Odeon specifically, or into like Kashtira decks. But at the moment, it's pretty mid. Even against like Blue Eyes, it's pretty cool because a lot of times your opponent will have like the Mausoleum of White, and then they'll get the True Light, and then you can kind of just like snipe the True Light whenever you want with a Typhoon. So I wouldn't necessarily say like it's fully rotated out, but this is one that could definitely rotate back in pretty quickly. If you've been watching the channel for a long time, you know that I love this hand trap. It's so cool, and what it does is just MST, but it's MST on either player's turn, just from the hand, which is really cool, and it's one card that I definitely could see rotating back in. The next one is just going to be tier 0. It's just Ash, right? Like, Ash is Ash. It's going to be good no matter what. This is just one of those hand traps that I think the only time that I've seen it ever be particularly bad was maybe, like, Virtual World format, and even, like, Valor and Imperm were really bad in that format too. There's just like not many times in the game's history where Ash has been particularly bad. So that'll just stay in tier 0. It's a crazy card. The next hand trap to talk about is going to be DD Crow. Honestly, this is going to be a weird one. You could put it in 2, you could put it in don't. I understand when it goes into like 2 and it's used, but there's just not a doubt in my mind that I'm not just using like Bystials over Crow. Bystials are just a body on your board. Their presence, a Magnamut is follow-up. Just what Bystials represent is so much more than just a DD Crow. And I understand when you're playing a deck like Fluandaries, or if you're playing like Bird Up back in the day, these were just really good avenues to just search DD Crow and then have it on top of your combo, and that's where DD Crow is stellar. You just have it ready to go. And like maybe we're in formats where you're trying to target things that are not lights or darks, and that's where DD Crow, again, ready to go. It's a very good card. But a lot of times right now, you're just wanting a Bystial. That's why Drus is that one. That's why Magnamut's that one. And we're still playing at least 3 to 4 Bystials in our deck list. So Bystials are still really strong. Tier 0 is really just reserved for the cards that have just been like there for all the time so far. Like Ash, just insane. And I know that like the Bystials have been that way pretty much the whole time too, but there are times where like these will rotate out just because it's not always going to be lights and darks. Mostly it will be, but there's definitely going to be formats where it's like water, wind, fire, you know, just attributes that we need DD Crow for or what have you. But you know, one of the things that I feel like are always going to be really impactful are Ash, even your Valors. I feel like Valor is the same thing in a sense as like Imperm, but like these cards are just like all-time staples that you want to run no matter what. And Valor is one that we see out of a lot of lists where Imperm's there because of course you're not playing in the talent, but talent is a one of now. People are still playing Thrust, but it does make Valor a lot better, and that's one thing that I definitely could see an uptick in deck lists of people playing Valor. Of course, you want to be able to still stop Duo Drive. Even if that deck did get hurt a good bit, it is still going to be a very effective deck in the format, and you want to make sure that you have all types of effect negation, and these are going to be cards that are always just going to see play, and they're always going to be really impactful. Now, the next one might surprise you, but I would definitely put Rock a little lower. I think Rock right now is probably the most mid it's ever been. And that's really awkward just because like Rock alone is usually like a really good card no matter what. But in this format alone, even if you're saying like, okay, it's not popular, so that means it's really good, it's still pretty mid right now. And I've been getting a ton of questions about this. Like even I cut Nibiru from most of my main decks right now, and it's just not really becoming like the craziest card for me into the format, where a card like Fua, just insane card, right? It's putting more pressure on my opponent than the potential for a Nibiru, because also the threat of a Nibiru is also a lot scarier than a Nibiru in your hand, because if you're drawing a lot of cards, your opponent's like, okay, they're going to draw a rock at some point and this is going to suck, right? So they're going to give you fewer draws and end early, whereas you could not even be playing Nibiru, but they're like, the threat of a Nibiru is still a lot worse than actually getting hit by it. So that's why a lot of people don't take the Fua challenge, because they don't want to lose to a hand trap that you're definitely able to draw if you're drawing so many cards. Now, as for Malice, you definitely still want to run Lancia post-Allen. This is going to be super impactful and something that you still want to do. People are like, well, you can still play the Administer package and do really well, but your plays are really limited if you're under Lancia. And its counterpart, Chaos Hunter, honestly, this card is like 1.5. I kind of wish I put 1.5. It's in between these. It's like high 2, low 1. I play it right now as like a 3 of. It might go down to a 2 of. But it's just like so much worse than Lancia. And it's like a good card, right? And like talent's down at 1 now, so it makes it a little better as well, because you cannot have to worry too much about a talent. But at the same time, the card itself is still pitching another thing out of your hand and then putting something on board. Your opponent is going to have extenders in the Administer cards, so it's going to make Chaos Hunter a lot worse. Of course, you're putting them on, hey, you better have that, but like at the same time, I feel like Hunter is always worse than Lancia, so take that into account. I'm not saying that you don't want to play Hunter. I still play Hunter, but I think that it's a lot worse than some of the other options we have. So just a couple in the don't section. We have Retaliating Sea. There's just no targets right now. It just doesn't make sense to play. Mourner, we're not in a shifter format anymore, thankfully. LOL. But, you know, Mourner is only really good when we're worried about things like Scythe or Token Collector, when they are mandatory Chainlink 1, and it doesn't matter what turn it is, that you can still drop Mourner as Chainlink 2, which is great. But again, we're not really worried about those types of cards right now, so Mourner is just a lot worse. Meister, again, just one of those cards that we're just not really seeing much value out of right now. It's a cool card, but it just isn't really doing anything right now. Ghost Ogre, I feel like this card is like tier 2 now. It's like fine, but if Malice is the better deck right now, it is way less impactful in Malice. It's like pretty good in the duo drive, but if you're playing like a Fiendsmith package, or if you're just playing like Mitsurugi, then Ogre sucks. And it could go from tier 2 to even like rotated out. Like, this card was really popular, it was really good, it was good in the blue eyes, and now it is just not that playable. So definitely something to consider otherwise as well. One of the cards I think are really cool right now, especially if the new Malice deck ends up being like really a crazy like Link deck, that we could consider playing Idly, which is a really cool card. Just kind of cracks boards that are all Link monsters, but that's neither here nor there. I don't really think that would actually get popular, but it is a very cool card. The next one here is Phantasme. I would say this one rotated out as well. It's just not really that popular. It's like good in the Malice, but it's like really mid in the Fiendsmith. So I probably wouldn't be on this card. It's not that good. There's just a lot of other cards I'd rather play before Phantasme. I know there's a lot of hand traps in tier 0, but these are cards that just have to be in your deck next format. And Alan, it's going to be imperative that you have these, because some of the decks are going to be absolutely insane, and you really want to make sure that you have the greatest counter and the greatest opportunity to counter whatever you're going to be going up against. So make sure that you do have these in your deck list. They are going to take you far in tournaments. Of course, watch my where to hand trap so you know where to throw them, but they're all going to be very impactful. Just like Purulia, because if you have your Fuas now off of the new Stampede, you definitely want to go ahead and find Purulias as well, because they're a staple in the sideboard. You want to be maining 3 Fua and siding 3 Purulia. These cards are going to be absolutely necessary. Now, what isn't absolutely necessary, but it is a really cool card right now, is Ghost Bell. I know this might be a little higher than people would expect to place this card, but it's pretty good in the Malice. It's really good in the Mitsurugi. It's really good in the Math Mech, being able to shut down the trap card. And it has a lot of applications into the format right now, including against the Fiendsmith cards. So I heavily recommend trying out Bell, at least 2 of in the main or even on the side. I think this card will come in clutch a lot moving forward, at least into this format and into Allen. Next one here is Moals. I think this is like the worst Mulcharmy. It is gaining a lot of popularity right now, and it was like 45 and now it's up to 65, so it definitely got bought out a little bit. But it's only because a lot of people are maining 3 Fua, siding 3 Perulia, and 3 Moals, which isn't bad, and has definitely been really strong for a lot of competitors. But at the same time, I kind of like more diversity in my side deck, so like back row blowouts, a good trap card for going first, or like thrust and like a DD ground, you know, just other things besides just Mulcharmies. But they are very strong, and this is definitely still in tier 1. But if you want any of the Mulcharmies, you definitely want to make sure that you have Fuas and Perulias. The next one here is Purge. This is like top of 2. It's okay. It's not exactly Ash. It just stops from adding. It doesn't stop from like specialing from deck. And this card's always been like pretty mid, and it's only really used in Melodious or Blue Eyes. So just super, super niche and just not really that crazy. It's a good card. It's a Dominus, right? But it's not my favorite. Droll, I think, is going to be like top of tier 1 right now. Card is very strong. It's very good when it's very good. It's very bad when it's very bad. If Malice starts taking over a lot, then I probably wouldn't play Droll. But considering that Malice is already on less cards now with the hits to Dormouse and White Rabbit and the field spell, it's kind of good to play Droll as well, because we're starting to see things like Signet Mining, Small World, and even backup Adagnister needs to be able to search on its effect. So that's one thing where if they have to like Signet Mining first and then you Droll, it can make things really awkward. So definitely consider Droll right now. I think Droll is a really strong 3 of at the moment. We'll have to wait and see how the format develops. And then in the bottom of tier 0, it's just Impulse. This card is literally Solemn from hand, and that is crazy. Having like a half Ash effect is like okay. Activating Solemn from hand is broken. Like, that's never not been broken. Every single time that I've resolved Impulse, it's crazy. I remember there was like a Chain Link 6. I had a set Impulse with the Trap and Grave and passed my opponent. They normal summoned Kusanagi and they targeted their Ameno and Grave. I chained Call by the Grave, they chained Drew's Worm, and I chained Impulse, right? That is just so absurdly good, and this will always be one of my favorite hand traps. It's just so wild that they would print something like that. But let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Let me know if you agree, disagree, what your favorite hand trap is, and I'll catch you all next video. Thank you.